look into a detailed structure of the ovary. This is the hilus, the point where blood vessels, nerves enter the ovary. If you recollect the female reproductive system diagram, you will see it is present at the junction of the fallopian tube with the uterus. Covering the ovary is a fibrous connective tissue layer called tunica albuginea. Below the tunica albuginea is a layer of germinal epithelium consisting of cells. A cellular layer. Interior of the ovary is filled with a connective tissue. This connective tissue is dense towards the periphery and thin towards the center. The peripheral dense connective tissue is called cortex, and the inner region is called medulla. Inside you find spherical structures called follicles, and these follicles will be in different stages of growth. In different stages of growth. So you can recognize very small follicles called primary follicles, slightly larger follicles called secondary follicles, and a very large follicle, a mature follicle called tertiary follicle. This tertiary follicle, inside which a mature ovum has been formed, this is called Graafian follicle. Graphian follicle. This Graphian follicle has a connective tissue covering called theca folliculi. Inside the theca folliculi, it shows a large number of cells arranged in a few layers. Granular cells. These granular cells are called follicular cells. Follicular cells. The follicular cells form a mound, a cup-shaped depression form a mound. This is called cumulus oophorus. Cumulus oophorus. Within this cumulus oophorus, enclosed inside this cumulus oophorus, is the ovum. Surrounding the ovum, there is a fibrous covering called zona pellucida, containing the ovum. So this is roughly the structure of the Graphian follicle. These are the follicles in various stages of growth. Wall of the Graphian follicle is called theca folliculi. Cells present inside the follicle are called follicular cells. These follicular cells at one end form a mound or a cup-shaped depression called cumulus oophorus, and inside that cumulus oophorus lies the ovum. Suppose we take a portion of this and enlarge to know the structure of the ovum. It looks like this. This is the ovum. Immediately surrounding the ovum, this is the ovum, human ovum in the secondary oocyte stage. Surrounding that, zona pellucida. Surrounding the zona pellucida, is membrana granulosa, a region formed by granular cells. Membrana granulosa, a region formed by the follicular cells. Surrounding this is the mound cumulus euphorus inside the Graafian follicle. At maturity, the ovum ruptures the wall of the follicle and gets released. Comes out of the follicle, comes out of the ovary, and this process of release of the ovum is called ovulation. After ovulation, following ovulation, the empty Graafian follicle without the ovum undergoes a process called luteinization and gets converted into a structure called corpus luteum. This corpus luteum starts secreting a steroid hormone, progesterone, whereas these follicular cells secrete the hormone estrogen. Corpus luteum secretes the hormone progesterone. Corpus luteum remains functional for a few days. If the ovum which has been released undergoes fertilization, becomes implanted in the uterus, then corpus luteum continues to function. If after ovulation fertilization fails, then corpus luteum degenerates, and this degenerating corpus luteum appears in the form of a white scar which is known as corpus albicans.